Do not lust in your heart after her beauty.
Or let her captivate you with her eyes.
Flee from sexual immorality. Every other sin a person commits is outside the body, but the sexually immoral person sins against his own body. So flee youthful passions and pursue righteousness, faith, love, and peace, along with those who call on the Lord from a pure heart. Be alert and of sober mind. Your enemy, the devil, prowls around like a roaring lion looking for someone to devour. Resist him, standing firm in the faith, because you know that the family of believers throughout the world is undergoing the same kind of sufferings. Jesus went out as usual to the Mount of Olives, and his disciples followed him. On reaching the place, he said to them, "Pray that you will not fall into temptation." He withdrew about a stone's throw beyond them, knelt down and prayed, "Father, if you are willing, take this cup from me. Yet not my will, but yours be done." An angel from heaven appeared to him and strengthened him. And being in anguish, he prayed more earnestly, and his sweat was like drops of blood falling to the ground. When he rose from prayer and went back to the disciples, he found them asleep, exhausted from sorrow. "Why are you sleeping?" he asked them. "Get up and pray, so that you will not fall into temptation." For the grace of God that brings salvation has appeared to all men. It teaches us to say no to ungodliness and worldly passions, and to live self-controlled, upright, and godly lives in this present age, looking for the blessed hope and glorious appearance of our great God and Savior Jesus Christ, who gave himself for us, that he might redeem us from every lawless deed and purify for himself his own special people, zealous for good works. You have heard that it was said, "You shall not commit adultery." But I tell you that anyone who looks at a woman lustfully has already committed adultery with her in his heart. If your right eye causes you to stumble, gouge it out and throw it away. It is better for you to lose one part of your body than for your whole body to be thrown into hell. And if your right hand causes you to stumble, cut it off and throw it away. It is better for you to lose one part of your body than for your whole body to go into hell. I will not look with approval on anything that is vile. I hate what faithless people do. I will have no part in it. The mind governed by the flesh is death, but the mind governed by the Spirit is life and peace. So I say, walk by the Spirit, and you will not gratify the desires of the flesh. But each person is tempted when he is drawn away and enticed by his own evil desires. Then, after desire has conceived, it gives birth to sin. And sin, when it is fully grown, gives birth to death. But the end of all things is near. So be serious in your behavior and keep on the watch with prayer.
Today I want to talk about a journey of integrity, strength, and unwavering faith. As men, we face unique challenges and temptations, but we also have the opportunity to rise above them and lead lives of honor and purpose. Let's explore these key verses that will help guide us in living righteously and resisting the temptations that seek to devour us. In 1 Corinthians 6:18, we are given a powerful directive. Sexual sin is particularly insidious because it stains our spirit and attacks our very essence. It's a battle that requires vigilance and a commitment to purity. As men, we must recognize the profound impact that our choices have on our own well-being and the lives of those around us. In Timothy 2:22 is a call to maturity. It challenges us to leave behind the impulsive desires of our younger years and to seek higher virtues. Surrounding ourselves with like-minded individuals who are also striving for purity and righteousness strengthens our resolve and keeps us accountable. 1 Peter 5:8 warns us to be alert and of sober mind. This is a stark reminder that we are engaged in a spiritual battle. The devil is always on the lookout for vulnerabilities, ready to exploit any weakness. Being alert and sober-minded means staying vigilant, aware of the enemy's schemes, and prepared to stand firm in our faith. The following verse, 1 Peter 5:9, urges us to resist him. Resistance is not a solitary endeavor. We are part of a global community of believers who face similar struggles. Knowing that we are not alone in our fight gives us strength and solidarity. Proverbs 6:25 reminds us that lust is a powerful and dangerous emotion. It can lead us astray and cause us to make decisions that compromise our integrity. By controlling our thoughts and desires, we avoid the pitfalls that come with unchecked lust and maintain our moral compass. In Matthew 5:27-30, Jesus addresses the issue of lust and the seriousness of sin. He begins by reaffirming the Old Testament commandment against adultery, emphasizing that even looking at someone with lustful intent is committing adultery in the heart. This teaching extends the understanding of sin beyond physical actions to include internal thoughts and desires. Jesus then highlights the importance of dealing with sin radically. He suggests that if one's right eye causes them to sin, it should be gouged out, and if one's right hand causes them to sin, it should be cut off. The point is not to harm yourself, but to stress the necessity of removing anything that leads to sin from one's life, no matter how valuable it seems. It is better to endure significant personal loss than to let sin lead to spiritual damnation. Psalms 101:3 emphasizes the importance of guarding our eyes and minds against corrupting influences. In a world filled with tempting distractions, we must make a conscious decision to reject what is vile and embrace what is good. By doing so, we maintain our integrity and honor God with our actions. Romans 8:6 presents a choice. The verse highlights the contrast between living according to our fleshly desires and living according to the Spirit. The former leads to destruction, while the latter brings life and peace. As men, we must strive to align our minds with the Spirit, seeking God's guidance in all aspects of our lives. Galatians 5:16 provides a practical solution. Walking by the Spirit means living in a way that is led by God's truth and power. It's about making daily choices that reflect our commitment to Him. By doing so, we can overcome the temptations of the flesh and live in accordance with His will. James 1:14-15 offers a sobering truth. Temptation begins within us. It starts with our own desires and, if left unchecked, leads to sin and ultimately death. Recognizing this process helps us take proactive steps to prevent temptation from taking root. 1 Peter 4:7 encourages us to live with a sense of urgency and purpose. We must be serious about our behavior and remain vigilant in prayer. By doing so, we stay prepared for whatever challenges come our way and keep our focus on what truly matters. In Luke 22:39-46, we witness a pivotal moment in Jesus' life as he prays at the Mount of Olives, just before his arrest. Accompanied by his disciples, Jesus urges them to pray to avoid falling into temptation, highlighting the importance of spiritual vigilance. Withdrawing a short distance, Jesus prays earnestly, expressing deep anguish and seeking God's will, ultimately submitting to it. An angel appears to strengthen him, underscoring the severity of his distress and the need for divine support. Despite the angel's aid, Jesus' agony intensifies and his sweat becomes like drops of blood. Returning to his disciples, he finds them asleep, overwhelmed with sorrow, and gently rebukes them, emphasizing the necessity of prayer. This passage vividly portrays Jesus' humanity and divinity, his submission to God's will, and the crucial need for persistent prayer and reliance on divine strength in times of profound trial. Finally, Titus 2:11-12 reminds us of God's grace. For the grace of God that brings salvation has appeared to all men. It teaches us to say no to ungodliness and worldly passions, and to live self-controlled, upright, and godly lives in this present age. God's grace empowers us to reject ungodliness and embrace a life of self-control and righteousness. It's a continuous process of growth and transformation, made possible by His unwavering love. Let us commit to living lives of integrity and faith. Let us flee from temptation, pursue righteousness, and rely on God's strength. Together, we can stand firm, resist the enemy, and be shining examples of what it means to be men of God. Embrace this journey with courage and determination, knowing that the Almighty is with you every step of the way. The flesh is not as powerful as the spirit. The flesh will fall away, but the spirit lives forever. Protect your spirit at all costs.